Fang was an unlucky boy who was orphaned at a very young age, but he promised himself that he would make his sect #1 in the entire world, and he spent many years doing just that. On this journey, he was supported by his many friends and his pet whale. But just when his dream was about to become a reality, his whale went out of control and killed Fang. But after this, he was reincarnated in the same world in the body of a scummy boy. He checks to see if he still has his whale, but his whale was gone forever. Now, before he could think and understand what was happening to him, some soldiers arrived there to arrest him. He doesn't understand what is happening to him. Let's find out together what is happening with Fang. At the beginning of the story, we are shown a horrifying scene. There was bloodshed all around. A child's entire family is wiped out in front of him. And having this terrifying nightmare of this incident from his childhood, our main character, Fang, wakes up from his sleep. And after this, Fang, while praying for the peace of his dead family's souls, tells them that after many years of hard work, he has brought his family's small clan to great heights. Now, there's just one final match, after which their Lingxiao pavilion will be promoted to a first-class sect. And that's why Fang is praying to his ancestors here to give him the strength to win this battle today. And then, as soon as Fang steps out of this room, all his students waiting outside say to him, "We all pray that you win today's battle." And after this, we see our main character space. And then we see large birds flying in the sky. And one of them bows before Fang. Fang sits on it, and that bird flies away with Fang. And friends, during this, we get to know that in this world, there are spiritual pets, which are just like Pokemon. You train with them, and those pets evolve to become even more powerful. Now, Fang and some of his disciples arrive at a very beautiful city. Friends, you too can see the beauty of this town. After which, we are shown the hall where Fang's match is going to take place. Friends, there were some important people here who didn't like our Fang's Lingxiao Pavilion sect at all. But there were also some people who respected Fang a lot. We get to know that Fang was born into a very well-known family, but after that, an accident happened and only he survived that accident. But Fang never gave up. He worked very hard since childhood and brought his sect, which had fallen to the ground, to the heights of the sky. On the other side, Fang comes to all his disciples here and says, "Dan Yi, you remember the promise you made to me when you joined this sect, right?" He says, "Yes, I remember, to become the strongest together." Fang explains that from the very beginning, it has been his dream to make his Lingxiao Pavilion sect #1 in the whole world. But doing all this alone was impossible for him. But now that he has all his disciples who support him so much, walking shoulder to shoulder with him, that's why Fang is completely sure that their Lingxiao Pavilion sect will become #1 in the whole world. And after this, Fang makes his entry into the hall. And after this, Fang, using his cultivation arts, summons his spiritual pet here, which is this giant whale. Fang's opponent, this old Han, sees this giant whale and praises Fang. But after this, he too, using his cultivation arts, summons a very huge ape. And now a very dangerous match is about to happen here. First, Fang starts the attack, and his giant whale's attack creates a storm in the stadium. But nothing happens to anyone because there is a protective barrier around all these people. Just then, Dao's giant ape punches Fang's whale. But after this, the giant whale launches a dangerous attack. And now a dangerous fight begins here. We see that the giant ape grabs this whale, spins it around, and throws it. So just then, Fang sits on his whale and flies into the sky. And after this, from the sky itself, he releases a very dangerous attack towards that giant ape. That giant ape tries to stop the attack, but when its power falls short, then this Dao, with his cultivation arts, greatly increases its power. And after this giant ape launches a very dangerous attack towards Fang's whale, seeing which Guliang, this girl, starts to panic that Master might lose. So Dan Yi says, "Don't worry, just keep watching." And now Fang also uses his secret cultivation arts, and by doing so, his giant whale becomes even more powerful and takes on another, even more dangerous form, which has been called the immortal black whale. After which, this whale, clashing with the giant ape's attack, starts to swallow the attack itself. Whatever attacks the giant ape launches at it, it swallows them. And then, with its own power, it retaliates, which causes a huge explosion here. And then finally, Fang and Dao, with their full strength, launch a final attack on each other. And the result of this attack is that Dao's giant ape has been defeated here. Seeing this, everyone is very happy, but in the very next moment, everything changes. Fang's giant whale loses control of itself and transforms into the rooting chaos whale, and then it starts destroying everything. And when Fang tries to stop it, it eats Fang himself. And now, Fang sees his whole life playing out before his eyes, from beginning to end. He was born, his parents took great care of him, and they taught him a secret art that only his clan members knew. After which, Fang chose his first spiritual pet, his whale, and then he decided that he would create his own sect, and the first to join his sect were Guliang and Ban Yi. After which, his sect grew, and they all promised together that they would make their sect #1 in the whole world. Everything was going right, but then Fang's whale went out of control, and everything ended right before Fang's eyes. He couldn't fulfill the promise he had made to his parents, and besides that, every single one of his companions also left him, and when Fang tried to go towards them, he fell into the abyss of eternity. But after this, we learn about the reincarnation scroll, which someone had given to Fang so that if someone ever betrayed and killed him, he could be reincarnated again in someone else's body. And after this, when Fang opens his eyes, he sees that he is not dead, but his spiritual pet, that giant whale, has left him. And after this, Fang goes to a river to drink water. But here, he sees his face in the water and is very surprised. Before he could understand anything, some people arrive there to catch him, and they knock Fang unconscious there. After which, we see that they have imprisoned Fang in a place. And here, Fang also understands that he has been reincarnated after dying, and a year has passed since his death. But he doesn't understand one thing. Why did his giant whale go out of control? Who conspired to kill him? And who is the real owner of this body? After this, he summons the real owner of this body's pets, which are nothing but a small dog and a cactus. And well, now whatever it is, this is it. These are Fang's spiritual pets. And just then, this dog starts to pee here. And seeing this, Fang's expression is something like this. Just then, this cactus enlarges its hands and picks up this doggy. But just then, we see that a guard was coming towards them, so Fang quickly recalls his new spiritual pets. And as soon as that guard comes inside, he sees that Fang has spread pee all around. After which, we see that the man starts to take Fang with him to Miss Bai. Fang asks here, is this Miss Bai going to torture me? But that man gives no reply. After which, that man brings Fang to a room and leaves him there. Fang comes inside this room and sees a lady sitting in front of him. She says here, do you know why I have kept you alive until now? Fang says, well, it's that you are so nice that you want to give me another chance to correct my mistakes, right? But the lady says, you had the audacity to watch me while I was bathing. Fang says, hey, that was a misunderstanding. But Miss Bai comes close to Fang and says, for what you did, even if I were to kill you, it wouldn't satisfy me. How about I keep you with me for life as my slave? Fang, moving away from the lady, says, the thing is, I don't know how to serve anyone. I won't be able to be your slave. And saying this, he also starts to leave from here. But just then, Miss Bai says, did I give you permission to leave from here? And in the very next moment, she, along with her spiritual pet, attacks Fang and throws him far away. Friends, Miss Bai's spiritual pet is this giant snake. Now Miss Bai thinks that Fang is dead here, but just then, from within the smoke, both of Fang's spiritual pets emerge, and that too in a completely badass style. But seeing the reality, the lady and her snake start laughing, and after this, she, attacking towards Fang, says, what do you think, you can defeat me with these? Just then, Fang sends his doggy to attack that snake, and just as that snake was about to eat this doggy, that doggy doggy quickly turns to the other side and at a very fast speed starts to distract the snake. And in that time, this Mr. Cactus, using all his strength, just like a slingshot, collides with the lady snake. And after this, he tries to entangle the snake in his vines. But this angers the lady, after which her snake quickly spins and swallows Mr. Cactus. But just then, Fang makes his move. He uses Mr. Cactus to completely trap this snake like this. And after this, Fang unleashes his ultimate attack. His doggy, leaping into the air, pees on this snake, the splashes of which also reach the lady. Here, Fang is quite happy, but the lady has become extremely angry, and now she uses her ultimate skill here, which makes the lady snake burn in fire. And this is the snake's flame scale skill. And friends, its pressure was so immense that stormy winds started to burn here, and burning in this fire, Mr. Cactus also gets damaged. And then that snake also hits this doggy with its tail and knocks them down too. Seeing this, Fang calls both of them back to him, but in the very next moment, that snake attacks Fang, due to which Fang falls into a small pond there. And just as he thinks that he is going to die here again, he sees something in front of him. And then, in the very next moment, Fang emerges from the water. Seeing Fang alive, the lady is shocked. But here, we see that Fang has made this small catfish in this pond his spiritual pet. And seeing this, the lady, laughing, says, "You turned out to be a very big fool. I admit that catfishes can be turned into giant whales, but a year ago, during that competition, that whale ate its own master, and that's why the main league gave an order that all catfishes be destroyed. And after this, that's what was done. And this catfish is probably the last catfish in this entire world. And the biggest thing is that, apart from the master of Lingxiao Pavilion, no one knows the secret arts to evolve a catfish, meaning you will never be able to evolve this catfish." But Fang here says, "Shut your mouth." This makes the lady angry again, and she attacks Fang. But this time, Fang doesn't run. Instead, he grabs the snake's jaws. And after this, Fang's catfish went to the snake's tail and started to swallow it. And friends, this scene was quite awesome, how a small fish easily swallows the lady's huge snake. After which, Fang leaves from here with his catfish, and the lady just keeps watching. But then, in the next scene, we see Fang running, because the lady's guards are chasing him with some wolves. But Fang doesn't give up and continues to run. And after this, he jumps from the top of this hill. You can see how far that other hill is from Fang. So when Fang starts to fall, he uses Mr. Cactus. Mr. Cactus, with his hands, grabs a rock and finally gets Fang to this other rock. After which, the next day, all these guards apologize to the lady because they couldn't catch Fang. But they think that Fang must have died after falling from the hill. But the lady starts to get angry because her soldiers are useless. They couldn't even catch one man together. But in the very next moment, stormy winds start to blow here because the lady's older brother, Mr. Danshu, has arrived. On the other side, we see Fang, who has regained consciousness, where he finds himself on top of a very large rock. On the other side, the lady tells her brother everything and says, "Please, brother, take my revenge on him." But Mr. Danshu was angry about the fact that Fang took their catfish. The lady asks, "How powerful was that catfish? Why didn't you give it to me?" Mr. Danshu says, "Powerful?" But on the other side, Fang tells us that there is nothing special about a catfish. It just has one skill, that it can swallow everything else. And here, Mr. Danshu says that it has been confirmed that a catfish is completely useless. And there is only one way to evolve it, which no one in this entire world knows except for the master of the Lingxiao Pavilion sect. But that man is also dead, meaning his secret went with him. That means even after taking my catfish, that man won't be able to do anything. But on the other side, Fang has started the cultivation of his catfish so that he could make his catfish the most powerful. And here he has also named his catfish Neon. And now Fang is ready to set out on a new journey with his new spiritual pet. In the next scene, we see an inn. And here, people come to rent pets through which they can travel long distances. And Fang also comes here to rent a pet so that he can reach his Lingxiao Pavilion sect as soon as possible. And friends, the Lingxiao Pavilion has a membership contract with this inn. Hearing this, the man says, "Can you show me your sect code?" So now here, Fang does a strange dance, which was quite embarrassing. This man, in his membership book, tries to find the sect code, and after a while, he finds it. Fang says, Then quickly give me a flying pet." But just then, that man tells Fang that his sect has been removed from their list. Hearing this, Fang is shocked. Then in the next scene, we see Fang riding a pig. The way this pig was carrying Fang, who knows if he'll reach the sect or heaven. After which, we get to know that after Fang's death, his Lingxiao pavilion's respect had diminished. And that's why they were demoted from B class to C class. But after this, they kept getting demoted like this, and in the end, they were removed from the legalist altogether. And now, Lingxiao Pavilion has become just a worthless sect. Let's see how long it takes for this pig to get Fang to his destination. On the other side, we are shown the Lingxiao Pavilion sect. And here we see Chef Yu, who had prepared very good dishes today. Danny I asks, "You know how bad our situation is, right? Then why did you make such good dishes?" Yu says that her heart is telling her that a special guest is coming today. On the other side, we see that Fang has come to a shop, and here spiritual pets are treated. And here Fang has come to get his 2 pets treated. After which, the nurse takes both of them from here. After which, Fang goes to a receptionist and asks if they have defense bubbles. That man says that this is the last one they have. Now Fang was just about to take it when a guy comes there and says that bubble is mine because I am ready to pay 3 times the price for it. To which the receptionist says, "I'm sorry, but he bought this first." But hearing this, this man says, "My name is Shu Tashuai, and what I want, I get." And saying this, he summons his spiritual pet. But this Shu in the very next moment says, in great surprise, "You are Mr. Fang, aren't you?" After which, Shu feeds Fang. Shu here asks, "Where have you been all this time?" Fang says, "I was just growing flowers in the mountains and raising dogs. By the way, Mr. Shu, I need your help." But Shu says, "You seem very changed. You haven't even had a drink." Fang says, "Oh, last night I drank a lot with a girl." But Shu says, "No, you have to drink today as well. Only then will I help you." Poor Fang, now he will have to drink. Friends, the thing is, whenever Fang drinks alcohol, he gets very drunk. But here we see that Fang has drunk many pots full of alcohol, and he is surprised to see that he is not getting drunk at all. Perhaps the original owner of this body was used to drinking a lot of alcohol. Now after this, Fang takes his bubble and starts to leave. But here Fang's eyes fall on the person who was sitting next to Shu, whom Shu had enslaved. So Fang goes to her, unties her ropes and says, "Now you are free." Then in the next scene, we see that Fang is moving forward and having a very good time with his spiritual pet Neon. But the person whose life Fang saved from Shu was also secretly watching Fang leave, and this is a dummy human girl. After which, we are shown the scene of the Lingxiao Pavilion sect, where a gang of thugs had arrived, and they have also injured some of the sect's disciples. And this gang's leader says, "From now on, this place is ours. If you value your lives, then leave this place." But just then, Dan Yi comes and summons his spiritual pet. Seeing this, these thugs also tell their pets to attack Dan Yi's pet. But Dan Yi's pet speed was very high. It defeats both of their spiritual pets very easily. By the way, the third member of the gang was left, so it easily defeats his pet as well. After which, we find out that Dan Yi's pet is a shade feline at the 3rd phase of the soul building stage. Dan Yi says, "Come on, get out of here now. You came to take over our sect." But just then, this leader gives a signal, after which one of his men does something, and the horn part of this beetle is shot towards the disciples like a bullet. And this attack was just about to hit Yu Lang when Dan Yi's pet comes very quickly and saves him. But just then, one of the thug's pets takes advantage of this opportunity and eats Dan Yi's pet. After which, we see Fang, who has finally reached his destination, the Lingxia Pavilion sect. He walks forward thinking about what his companions must be doing right now. But here he also notices that in just 1 year, the condition of his sect has become very bad. He sees that the front door is also open. But as soon as he gets inside, he sees that Dan Yi's pet is thrown away after being badly injured by this other pet. Dan Yi runs and catches it, but because of this, he collides with a pot. But despite this, he is only worried about his pet. His pet dies here. And seeing this, Dan Yi starts crying like a child. Just then, these thugs say, "See what we can do? Now come on, get out of here, because now this place is ours." But in the very next moment, an attack lands on this leader's pet, which was done by this Mr. Doggy. And what kind of attack was it? You must know. But just then Fang says, "How dare you come to our Lingxiao Pavilion sect and misbehave like this?" And during this, Kulang sees her master in Fang. Friends, after being reincarnated, our hero's name is Fang, and his previous name was Feng. I also just found out, sorry. Just then Fang says, "Now I will show you all what I can do." After which, Fang has his doggy attack them. But this leader also tells his lizard to finish that doggy. But that doggy blocks the lizard's attack. Seeing this, the leader is stunned. A mere puppy blocked my lizard's attack? After which, Mr. Doggy attacks the lizard and throws it far away, defeating this lizard. The leader can't believe his eyes that a worthless puppy defeated his lizard. But friends, we get to know that this small puppy was able to defeat that lizard because it first attacked it with its pee. But after this leader tells his companions to summon all the pets they have. After which they do so. Seeing this, Fang says, "Hey, so many against one? This is totally unfair. That's why I'm running now." These thugs think that they have defeated that man, but when they come outside and look, they can't see Fang. But friends, Fang was above them, with him was his Nan, and this little fish had eaten all the thugs' pets. But these thugs say, "You have a catfish? But how? All the catfishes were destroyed." So Fang says, "Oh, you guys found out about this. Looks like I have to finish you all now." Hearing this, those thugs run away from here in fear. After which we see that Kulang comes to Fang to thank him, because Fang saved all their lives. But in the very next moment, Fang pulls her into an embrace, saying, "I am so happy to see you again." But Yulang, very embarrassed, says, "Who are you?" Now Fang was about to tell her the truth when he remembers that his whale turned into a corpse whale because someone plotted this. And who knows who it was. So now Fang doesn't tell Yulang anything and just says, "You can consider me a friend of yours." But then, going inside, Fang says, "I'm with you. We need to see if everyone else is okay." And here again, Kulang sees her master in Fang. Fang comes inside and sees that many of his disciples are quite injured. Kulang tells everyone here about Mr. Fang, but no disciple gives any particular reaction. Just then, Kulyang comes to Dan Yi to ask him if he's okay, but knowing that Dan Yi's pet is dead, she also starts crying. And here, Fang remembers the day when Dan Yi had caught this shade feline. And seeing this cat with Dan Yi, Fang says, "It likes you. You should make it your pet." Dan Yi says, "Thank you, master. I will make it very strong with cultivation." Dan Yi was very happy at that time, but today his eyes have become completely lifeless. And now he is leaving this sect because everything is over, and there is no point in staying here now. His disciple, who had come from far away looking for this sect, is leaving right before Fang's eyes. And at that time, there was no one else in the sect besides Fang, meaning Dan Yi was Fang's first disciple. That's why here, Fang goes to Dan and tries to stop him, saying, "I will help you rebuild this sect." But Dan laughs here and then shouts, "Our sect doesn't need a stranger like you. Our sect is number one." Fang remembers that he himself had promised Dan Yi that he would make this sect number one. And, believing his words, Dan Yi had shaken hands with him. After which, Dan starts to walk away again. Yu Liang also tries to stop him. "You can't leave us like this. We have to fulfill Master's last wish." But Dan says that Master is dead, and without him, we can't do anything. Liang, crying, says, "Don't say that, Dan." But he says, "Why shouldn't I? After all, this is the reality. The moment Master left, this sect also ended at that very moment." And after this, along with Dan Yi, the rest of the disciples also start to leave this sect. Yulian tries to explain to everyone, but no one listens to her, because everyone feels that after Master left, they couldn't do anything, and they don't have enough strength to protect the sect. When everyone was leaving, Fang also tries to stop them, and just then, it starts to rain heavily. And in this rain, all the disciples of the sect look towards their beloved sect for the last time and bow, saying, "We are all leaving now." Seeing this, Yang cries a lot, and during this, Fang's courage also breaks. His heart calls out to stop them. "All of you, please stop. I will give my all to bring this sect back to the top, but please, all of you, stop." But no one stops. And then finally, Fang comes before Miss Liu and says, "I want to join your sect." After which, the scene changes and we see that now only 4 or 5 disciples are left in the sect. Dan Yi, who was the strongest in their sect after their master, has also left the sect. Otherwise, he would have been chosen as the next master. Just then, a boy named Cheng Si stands up and says that now there is only one person here who is worthy of becoming the master. Fang thinks that Cheng is talking about him, but friends, Cheng was talking about Yang. And after this, all 3 of them start calling Miss Yang master. And because they had no other option, Miss Yang agrees to become the sect master for some time. Now the question arises, what should they do now? So Fang says that we should focus on catching spiritual pets. And during this, Miss Yang again sees Master Fang in Fang. After which, we get to know that all the spiritual pets of the Lingxiao Pavilion sect have been killed. And except for Fang, at this moment, no one in the sect has any pet. That's why they must first focus on catching pets. But now the question is, where to catch pets from? So Fang says that he knows a place. But when they reach that place, there was already a huge crowd there. That's why Fang now brings them all to another place where no one was. And after this, he jumps down from the hill. Cheng thinks that Fang is gone, but Fang was safe and sound below. And after this, he brings all 3 of them down here into the valley with the help of his Mr. Cactus. And friends, this is the secret place where they will find pets. After which, Fang brings them all inside the valley. After which, we are told about some stages of these pets which I don't understand. Here, Fang explains that these flower-type rocks are currently at the 5th or 6th phase of the seeding stage. And along with this, there were cave monkeys, and they are at a slightly higher stage than the flower rocks. But just then, Miss Ye asks what grade that pet is. Friends, this is a firetail fox. Fang, in his mind, says that a soul-building stage pet, that too in this valley, this is impossible. Perhaps this is someone's pet, and as soon as he notices this, a person attacks him from behind. But Fang manages to dodge in time, and after this, that person says that only I have the right to this valley, so you all leave from here or it will be very bad. But in the very next moment, they all start saying, "We should run from here? Hey, we were thinking about which of our pets to use to defeat your worthless little fox." But in reality, they were all just acting. Apart from Fang, no one else has any pet. But seeing their act, that boy starts to get scared. Their act was utterly terrifying, and that's why that boy runs away from here in fear. These 3 are very happy, but suddenly a strange sound comes from here, and that was the voice of the Lord of this valley. They all start running towards that direction. With them was that boy with his fox. After which, they all see that in front of them is the Lord of this valley, the rhino-horned panda. This boy attacks that panda first with his fire, but that panda uses its unique skill, which prevents this fox from attacking. And after this, the panda attacks with its horn and injures this boy. And with that attack, this boy becomes colorless. Just then, this panda attacks Fang with its horn, but Fang dodges its attack. And after this, he tells the others to hide. But friends, the effect of the panda's attack is now showing on Fang. He immediately summons his doggy so that the doggy can spray its detoxifying pee on Fang. The doggy doesn't understand much, but peeing is its habit. But the pee has no effect on Fang. But just then, that panda attacks this firefox and injures it. But when this boy looks closely, the fox's blood looked exactly like paint. And in the very next moment, that wound heals. And from this, Fang understands one thing. This panda absorbs colors by attacking, and then it uses those colors to create illusions. but just then that panda changes its form and attacks them from behind, and then becomes normal again. But what happened to our Fang? What does he look like? After which, we see that the panda starts fighting with the firefox, and it's overpowering the fox. And because this fox is now really a little injured, that boy says, "We have to fight it together. What do you say?" Fang agrees. After which, Fang attacks this panda with his Mr. Cactus, but nothing happens to it. Instead, it body slams Mr. Cactus. And after this, with its horn, it shines a light in front of them and disappears from their sight. So, this firefox enlarges its eye and finds the panda's shadow and attacks it. But this was the panda's trick. The panda attacks the firefox from above, defeating it. And after this, the panda uses a skill called spiritual pollution on them, which affects their thinking ability. And, taking advantage of this, the panda starts to beat them both up. And honestly, friends, at this moment, Mr. Doggy didn't understand anything, because in this world, doggies are colorblind. But seeing his master being beaten, the doggy attacks the panda from behind, knocks it down, and pees on it, which makes the panda lose. But just then, this boy betrays them. He catches the panda and starts running with it. And then, using one of his pets, he flies away from here with the panda. Fang says, "Our luck is just bad today." After which, we see that boy brings that panda to the Yi sect and says, "I am here to meet Mr. Liao." After which, we see many pets imprisoned in this place. After which, we see that Mr. Yu Yang, who is the head of a branch of the Yi sect, Leishe Security, he says here, "Oh, Sumo-shan, so you've come here after catching a lord. You truly are talented. Why don't you join our sect?" But Sumo-shan says, "We had a deal. I want my ice steel back." After which his ice steel is brought here. But as soon as he tries to take it out, his firefox is caught. Yu Yang's men surround Sumo-shan. He asks, "What are you doing?" Yang says, "Nothing, just taking your pets." After which, we see that Sumo-shan starts fighting with Yang's men. But just then, two guards catch Sumo-shan like this. But just then, his firefox helps him, which allows Sumo-shan to defeat these two guards. But just then, Yang snaps his fingers, and a dangerous pet emerges from behind Sumo-shan and slams him into the ground. Now Sumo-shan can't even move himself, and Yang here says, "You are of no use to me, but these two foxes of yours, I can sell them." Now the next day, we see these three who were probably a little worried because on the poster in front of them, it was clearly written that Fang is a scoundrel. Ms. Gulyu says, "We shouldn't focus on this right now." And just then, Fang arrives. But seeing their strange behavior, he also doesn't understand what they are doing. After which, Ms. Gulyu comes to withdraw the remaining money of her sect from the bank. But in their bank account, there wasn't even a single coin. Ms. Gulyu starts crying here, asking who took all their money. This is the work of none other than Fang himself. He tells them, "I have some money." After which, we see that they all come to buy a pet. It's quite cute and also a bit expensive. That's why Ms. Yu tells the shopkeeper, "Lower the price a bit. The thing is, we're a bit poor." And after this, the sharp look Ms. Yu gives the shopkeeper forces him to lower the price, even if he doesn't want to. After which, this scent skipper becomes Ms. Gulyu's. On the other side, Chang has taken a liking to this red thorn pony, and here Chang asks Ms. Yu to bargain for this as well. After which, both of them look towards the shopkeeper, and finally, this red thorn pony becomes Chang's. Friends, here Ms. Gulyu and Chang were very happy, which made these two happy as well. But friends, now only Ms. Yu doesn't have a pet. She was just thinking about what she should get when a man calls them, who had a lord. And this is none other than that panda. And seeing this, Ms. Gulyu says that we caught this panda, we want it back. But this man, seeing their uniform, says, "You, a member of that Lingxiao Pavilion sect, how do you still have the guts to say this?" But hearing this, both of them get angry. But just then, Chang comes to the panda with his pony, and then in the very next moment, he tells this gentleman that his panda has dug a hole and run away. Seeing this, the gentleman immediately opens the cage door. But friends, in reality, this wasn't a hole, but just an illusion. The panda was hidden right there. And after this, it lands a strong punch on this gentleman. The gentleman's game was over. But after this, we see that Ms. Gulyu goes towards this panda and says, "When my sect was in trouble, I couldn't do anything to help it. But now, I don't want to be weak anymore. Will you be my strength?" Hearing this, the panda willingly agrees to form a contract with Ms. Gulyu. After which, we see that Ms. Gulyu forms a contract with the panda. But here, Fang's eyes fall on two foxes. Fang says, did he sell his own pet? Meanwhile, the panda is acting tough in front of Ms. Yu. Anyway, now we see that both of them have been freed. After which, we see that both of them are trying to say something through gestures. Fang understands that their master has been captured. But the Yi sect is much stronger than their sect, and their head, Mr. Yang, has a general-level spiritual pet. But Fang says, I have a plan. After which, we see that they all return to their sect, and here, Fang gives them a letter that their master Fang had left for them, in which it is written that under a tree, there is a box containing pills, which, when eaten, can make pets evolve quickly. But near this box, they find another letter, in which it was written that if you are reading this note, then I am probably dead. Forgive me that I couldn't teach you all much, and all the difficulties you all are facing right now are because of me. Please forgive me for this, and please, no matter what the circumstances, never give up, because what we have lost, we will get it back. The Lingxiao Pavilion sect will once again reach the top. Friends, in this box, they find those pills that can make pets evolve very quickly. Seeing this last memento of their master, Ms. Gulyu starts crying here. By the way, Fang wrote all these letters. In the next scene, we see Sumo Shan, who was imprisoned and being tortured so that he would break his contract with his pets. But Sumo Shan doesn't do so. On the other side, we see that our entire team has reached the Yi sect to help Sumo Shan. Sumo Shan hears some noises from outside, and just then, the door in front of him opens. All of them have come to save him. After which, Fang frees him from the chains. And after this, he tells his companions that what our plan is, we will follow it. I will go and face the head, and you all will free the pets trapped in captivity. But here, Moshan asks, why did you help me? Fang says, in return, you help us, then our score will be settled. Mochan smiles and says, I am ready for this, and after this, their mission begins. After which, we see this head Yu Yang, to whom a soldier reports that intruders have entered. After which, Fang here comes to fight Yu Yang, but he sees that there is a treasure room in front of him. He comes inside this room and sees that here many precious treasures were kept. And with some precious treasures, these two start playing. But just then, head Yang comes here and says, I have an offer for you. If you join our sect, then I can give you many unique treasures here. Fang says, sorry, but I am here to take revenge for the Lingxiao Pavilion sect. But Yang, moving like a shadow in this room from here to there, says, the master of the Lingxiao Pavilion sect was betrayed by one of his own. Fang says, don't talk nonsense. But in the very next moment, Fang is attacked from behind. But Mr. Cactus saves him in time. But just then, Yang's pet named Shadowhide attacks them. So Fang now starts to run away from it. But because that pet was coming after Fang, Fang starts picking up the treasure kept there and throwing it at it. But we see that Yang and his pet catch all the things and put them down gently. And seeing this, Fang gets an idea. And after this, Fang's doggy slowly pushes a treasure and drops it. Seeing this, Mr. Yang feels very bad. But after this, Mr. Cactus with his vines drops an entire cupboard on Mr. Yang. After which, Fang thinks that now for some time, Yang won't come after him. But just then, Yang's pet attacks Fang and injures him. And Fang here understands that this shadow pet is very powerful. On the other side, we see that these four free all the captured pets. But just then, a huge explosion happens from that side where Fang was. Just then, Fang reaches them in an injured state. Miss Gulyu immediately comes to Fang. Fang here says, this fight is going to be very dangerous. And in the very next moment, we see that Sumo Shan gets ready for the fight with both his pets, because Yang has arrived here. Just then, Shadow comes from behind Mochan to attack him. But Mochan's pet attacks Shadow and saves him. Just then, Fang tells Miss Yu to use the panda's light skill. And just then, the panda retaliates on that shadow. But shadow disappears again. And in that time, Miss Guliu's cute little pet has completely healed Fang. On the other side, we see that everyone together, through their pets, tries to fight Shadow. And because of this, Yang uses his secret arts to increase Shadow's power. And very easily, he defeats all the pets. And now, even the panda can't stand before it. And friends, now to help them here, no one is in a good condition. Just then, Yang orders, "Finish their master." And as he says this, we see that Shadow catches Miss Guliu. And now Yang here says, "You fought me quite well, but my shadow is much more powerful than all your pets." And after this, we see that Shadow was about to finish Miss Guliu. But just then, Fang shows his power, and in a very grand style, summons his Neon. Friends, we see that Neon has also reached the soul building stage. And in the time all this was happening, Mr. Cactus had saved Miss Guliu. And Miss Guliu, before her eyes, witnesses a spectacular sight. After which, she, looking at Fang, thinks that he also has a catfish. And here, Neon pushes Shadow far away. So now Shadow attacks Shadow from a distance. And friends, here it injures Neon. And, taking advantage of this opportunity, Shadow presses Neon down like this. So Fang here, using his bubble, frees Neon from Shadow's claw. And after this, Neon attacks towards Shadow. But Shadow blocks that attack. But some stick destroy that core. Yang, using his power, pins him and Neon down right there. And laughing, he says, "In the end, I won." Fang tries to push himself forward, but he can't do anything. And just then, Yang says, "The Lingxiao Pavilion sect ends here." But in the very next moment, someone comes running and lands straight on this core, which breaks this core. And it is this lady. You might remember that Fang had freed her. But just then, Yang attacks this lady from behind. But the lady retaliates and throws Yang far away. Friends, the lady is very powerful. Seeing her, Fang remembers, "Oh yes, it's her." And Yang here says, "Thank you for saving me." And we see that the madam has fallen deeply in love with Fang. That's why she gets shy and runs away from here. And here, as soon as Mo-chan regains consciousness, he says, "Brother, quickly loot all the treasure." After which, we see that they have looted all the treasure. Mo-chan here says, "I want 70% of this treasure." But just then, Fang's doggy pees on him, which makes him forget the previous matter and agree to a 50-50 split. But just then, Fang makes him forget again, and Chan says, "You regret betraying us. That's why you are giving us your 50% share as well." After which, this is what happens. In the end, Mo-chan gets only this box. Fang says, "You three choose whatever pets you want for yourselves here." But just then, Fang's eyes fall on the fire-style steel ball. And in the very next moment, Fang starts to form a contract with it. By his doing so, strong winds blow. But in the end, that steel ball becomes Fang's pet. But in the very next moment, Fang feels something, due to which he faints and falls right there. After which, the next day, Fang regains consciousness. Chang, who is with him, tells him that "You suddenly fainted. We were very worried about you. But now you have regained consciousness, and we will now make good food for you." But Fang was thinking that after forming a contract with the steel ball, he felt a strange power. But after this, we see that Fang goes inside his Neon, because inside Neon, there is a separate space where Fang has kept all the treasures. And here, Fang is now thinking about how he can make Neon evolve as quickly as possible. But apart from this, the thing is that Fang still hasn't found out who that traitor was who betrayed him. And because Miss Guliu has seen Neon, that's why Fang now goes straight to meet her. Miss Guliu was in the temple at this time. She says to Fang, "I'm sorry, because of us you had to fight such a dangerous battle yesterday." But here, there were tears in Miss Guliu's eyes. She quickly wipes her tears, and after this, she says that "I was praying to my master that you have come as a new hope for our sect." Fang says, "Oh, what are you saying? I came here to tell you the full story of my catfish." After which, in the next scene, we see that Fang has told Miss Gu Liu a story about his catfish. Now after this, Fang asks, "Master, why did you join the Lingxiao Pavilion sect?" But avoiding this question, Miss Gu Liu shows Fang this poster and asks, "This is you in this poster, isn't it? Are you really a scoundrel?" Fang says, "This is all just a misunderstanding. Please believe me." Miss Gu Liu says, "I believe you. The days we spent together, I never felt that your thinking was in any way despicable. In fact, you seemed very familiar to me. The way you work, your catfish, every single thing is like my master's, Fang. I want to know the truth from you. Are you a disciple of my master or a friend? Or perhaps, are you my master himself?" So now, what answer will Fang give here? This will be revealed in the next part. Thanks for watching.